Okay, so is this the End of Democracy podcast?
Is that what we're calling this?
Woo, brother! Here's what I would like to say to any detractors that have watched our show. We called all this shit.
I
we
know.
called we called all of it. All right, I look like a really short person. There we go. All right. So man, I was gone for a week. What happened?
Sean, you stopped paying attention to the news, but I have to tell you, years ago, right? I think this was maybe in like 2014 or something, when I was renewing my old visa. There was one time where we were it was like late at night, and we were going to one of the crappy late night bars in Oklahoma. And the bouncer there didn't let me in because my passport was about to expire. Okay.
Okay.
And I was reading that story about Ryan Walters trying to keep track of students' visa statuses. And I had like the biggest shit fit with that bouncer because I was like, who the fuck are you fucking idiot, to check my visa status, you piece of shit. Like, that's how angry I was. And that was just me trying to get...
I was so angry. So here's the thing. Most of these kids, for one, don't know for anybody who doesn't know, we've got this lunatic in charge of our schools here that I've been fighting for, what are we got, 2.5, 3 years with this moron. Mm-hmm. And he thought he was going to get in Trump's cabinet. And since he didn't, now he's just gone off the rails. And so here's the take on all this. As you well know, Oklahoma, we do have a large population that are undocumented. I mean, that is a fair statement. We're a poor state, and that's, whether you like it or not, that's how things get done. My question is who is going to put somebody's roof on a house after a tornado here?
Yeah.
Like,
at a reasonable cost, Sean, not at an exorbitant price.
Right. I just don't... And look, you saw yesterday, I took the opposite route on this because there's no real way to argue it, because technically what's happening is illegal, but it's been looked the other way since America began. So, now we're going to pay attention. Mm-hmm. The challenge is our Oklahoma state constitution says everyone gets a free public education. But we're already challenging that on the religious end, on the charter end, all this other stuff. So this is just the next thing. This is all about public schools being 40% of the budget, and companies that can't get 3% growth in their companies, so they're looking somewhere else to get it. And the last place, it's the last place, like really and truly the last place is to get these government contracts. Yeah. You still can't get your 3% eventually. We've got to figure out. I get the big game. I've always just been one of those people. I was lucky enough to see the big game, but when you're picking on little kids, this is sad. So, Kyle and I, my son Kyle and I were at the Republican National Convention, 2016, when Donald Trump was brought in. And he was a reporter, and I was his photographer. He was still in college, and we sent all these news stories back to Oklahoma. And smart move, smart way to get yourself out there.
Yeah.
But back then, we ended up in the speech with this young Hispanic lady, and she was just drop dead beautiful actress. And she went to school one morning, came home, and her parents were gone.
Wow. Okay.
Now, you were an immigrant over here in that community, so you go to your aunties or your aunt or your uncles or whoever. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to feed her.
Oh, wow.
Right. Now, eventually one of them took her in, but angrily, was furious that she had to take care of this for her. So this kid grows up with this weird chip on her shoulder. And obviously in Oklahoma, we passed some law back in 2024. It was 5184 or something, 4184 or 5184, making being an illegal, an undocumented person the second time, basically a felony. And so this is the part of the bill nobody read. Mm-hmm. They read the part that said, we're going to put a commission together to look at how to get your documents early. Do you remember this? Because it would have affected you on that part. Mm-hmm. The other part was the first time you get sent back, you just get sent back. The second time, $100 fine, 2 years in jail.
Nice. Nice to keep the for-profit prisons in business, I guess, on the side.
Right. It's always about the money. It's always about the money. So here's my thing. Being a good person, I hate to use any religious depiction at this point because they're so convoluted. I would offer up space in my house if some kid's parents went, they can live there, until they can either get reunited or something else. That's our only solution to this. The solution is not fighting these guys, because this is a Steve Bannon thing just trickling down where you throw 10 things out into the ether, which you and I understand from a TV standpoint and a media standpoint. The average person doesn't. So they're now grabbing the easiest thing. Well, we have 3% unemployment here. 3. Who do you think's going to do this work? Your meth head, crackhead nephew? I mean, who do you think is going to show up to do this work? Now, temporary visas, yeah, you can pull that up, but people don't understand. That's a federal government deal. We're a state government, and I used to be part of running a city government. You can't just give permits out like that. It's got to come from the feds. And look, Donald Trump owned golf courses and hotels.
Yeah.
I mean, do I really need to state the obvious?
There's no way to run those things profitably if you don't have a few getting paid in cash, so to speak.
Yeah. Or they're the ones that will show up. I mean, if you're out in a suburb, what little kid from that suburb is going to come work at your golf club as a bus person? They're not. No, they might work as a caddy because they get 6 hours together with a business person for a future contract. That's a different ballgame. But the actual shit jobs that come with all that, we're in a weird place right now. And like when the day before I came back, I stupidly started answering texts and stuff from people, and I just shouldn't have. And my concern,
mistake, Sean. I was actually a big mistake. I was actually envious of you being oblivious to all this shit.
I had not heard anything over in South America. They just got rid of dictators in Chile and in Argentina. I mean, like 10 years ago, or 15 years ago. No one asked about Donald Trump. Nobody asked about any of that. And I thought the immigration thing, I just thought was a ruse to eat the news for a while. And evidently that was the one that everybody chose. So they've rolled on it. Are there problems? Yes. But so here's the example. George W. Bush, the favorite Bush kid, because everybody thought, he's a guy I could have a beer with, not realizing he doesn't drink. I don't even know where to go with that one. So George Bush, they had the hurricanes down in New Orleans. He comes in and says, no illegals. I want everybody documented that works on this job. Nothing happened for a week. You remember that guy named Brownie? Brownie went to the University of Kansas, where I went. So Brownie, and Brownie ends up getting fired because nothing was done. Because they had to realize, who does the construction in the lower part of this country are Hispanics. That's it. Period. And yeah, you might have some few other stragglers, but that's it. So this is going to put us in a precarious position. The biggest thing is not just that one. The biggest thing is they halted all federal grants yesterday.
I did see that, which means doesn't it mean that a lot of the 501(c) firms which get money from government are fucked?
And once again, I would say, do we need some restructuring on some stuff? Yes. But there's going to be a lot of unemployed people in 2 weeks. Or is this just a ruse to eat the news up for 2 days and then you release the money? You know as well as I do, this guy is a promoter.
First and foremost.
Even you and I don't know right now what he's promoting. Because none of the white supremacists got on his immediate cabinet. So he burned all of them. So they're angry, and maybe he threw the bone to them on immigration so they would get off of his leg. So they deal in PR for anybody listening. In PR, the best way to get somebody off of your leg, like if they spit onto you and they won't let go is to put them on somebody else's leg.
Mm-hmm.
And that may have been the give me as he did the deal there. So I know I've talked through this entire thing. Let me cover one more thing and we can do it back and forth because they're all huge.
Yep.
So the bird flu is why eggs are so high. That is true.
I do like that Canadians post pictures of how much their eggs cost just to be dicks to you guys. I'm like, fuck yeah, Canada.
I mean, at this point, why not?
Mm-hmm.
All of the people that didn't believe in COVID now believe in the bird flu.
Oh, convenient.
Magic. Science now works.
It just doesn't work if the other guy said something.
So we're in a vortex, and I tell you what, and people that you and I both know, I saw yesterday that voted in this direction because they thought it'd be good for the economy are in a dead panic.
Oh, can you imagine the people who voted for him and now like a tomato or whatever the fuck you'll buy from Mexico has like a 25% price hike on you? It's not like Whole Foods or whoever the hell you buy your groceries from is going to eat that cost and pass it down correctly to you.
It's so we'll see how all this shakes out. It's an ugly first week. It's what I thought it would be. I wish it wasn't. You know, I didn't vote for the guy, so I don't take any responsibility for it. I actually worked against him. You know, but you know, our state's just as bad. Ryan Walters, the head of our schools, is, as we started here, trying to get all this documentation on children. But then he followed it with, if the government asks me for it, of course I will give it to it.
Okay.
Why would you make that a statement unless that was your original plan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And here, it's getting to be a really weird place because, you know, you and I have talked about the governor run, all this other stuff. I have had more people sending me stuff. I'm not sure somebody with my political background could live through a governor's race as of right now.
Yeah.
And that's because, you know, it would have been fun 2 weeks ago or funny or hilarious. The vibe, buddy.
Now it's just getting a little bit like we might get.
Hold on, can we use the word rapey? Is that okay? It's getting a bit rapey right now, which is what girls say when guys are around that they really don't trust or anything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you got any ideas? You know, how's shit working for you guys over there?
Can I tell you, like, I was actually having this conversation with a friend of mine because I was asking her, like, she constantly will send me news articles about things that are happening in the US that even I'm not aware of. And I'm like, how are you guys this informed? And she was like, you don't understand it because you've lived there. Yeah. For us, it's like the dream to go live there and come back and do our shit here. Whereas you just take all these things for granted. Whereas every kid's dream here is like to someday go there, work for a bit or come back and things like that.
Yeah.
And they look at this in a way where some of them I spoke to are happy that 18,000 illegal Indians who are living in America are getting kicked out. Because in their head, it's like more room for the Indian visas that
for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I thought was like a little bit like a little bit cutthroat and nasty, but I was like, all right, maybe that's how it works.
So a kid I know that's black, that's from one of the island countries. I said, hey, I mean, do you know your rights if immigration talks to you? Because my deal is I on this one, you know, I really don't get to take a side. I just want you to know your rights so you don't get yourself in trouble. He was like, I'm not Mexican. They're not talking to me. And you go, yeah, that's for right now. Mm-hmm. It's not the way this works, my man. That's not the way. But it's okay. You know, from my perspective, you know, I'll be 62 this year. Mm-hmm. You know, this is all hitting so hard, so fast. You know, I used to say America could survive 4 years of about anything. And you know, I kind of believe that still. Yeah. But you know, the roads in South America that brought dictators in were a messed up economy. People weren't making enough money. And then you believe in the strong man's going to come in and fix it. Once they get in, you can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
That looks pretty familiar. So I hope I'm wrong. I'm not a paranoid.
The thing I do worry about is that it's what, 8 days? Today would be the 9th day since he's been sworn in. And the speed and pace of the news cycle and the way he's running the presidency, he might change the way that office has to be run from now onwards, for the sole reason that if someone comes and tries running it at the pace of a Biden or Obama, they're going to look like a fuck all president who doesn't know what he's doing. They're like, hey, my guy did all of this shit in 8 days.
Right.
This guy's been there for 100 days and there's no news yet. Because 100 days used to be like old presidents had the 100-day thing is to see what they achieved in there.
Right. And now it's going to be 10 days. Yeah. So in the day of the internet and computers, it's not wrong. The challenge with all of this stuff is we all knew Project 2025 was coming.
John, we have an episode from last July about Project 20.
and these poor folks, because this is hitting the same people that voted for him, and I suppose that's what has to happen. They just have to go, oh my goodness, there's nobody to come pick our crops, there's nobody to take our melon. I mean,
there is a part of me that is slightly happy when somebody goes like, what have I done to myself?
A little Schadenfreude, that German word of watching somebody else in misery and taking a little pleasure in their misery. But I mean, at my age, this stuff really probably, okay, you cut my Social Security, I'll just work a little longer. I mean, literally, it's not gonna change my life. But I don't want to live to be 90.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be. So, but what a crazy, and I think I would say this from, so you think of when you guys were in England, and then Boris Johnson comes along.
Oh, yeah.
They are still stuck with problems Boris Johnson got through.
Yeah.
I was leaving this country to my kids and it seemed relatively stable. And now all of a sudden everything's on its end. So
it is.
The one thing I would say before we go is, Steve Bannon went over and tried to convince the Brits to do all this stuff that's happening here now. Yeah. And they basically laughed him out of the country. And so this is a fellow Irishman. You can look at his face. He's a drunk. Or hold on. What I need to say is, I believe that man might have an alcohol problem. That way he can't sue me. Bloated face, red, puffy, everything, doesn't shave, unkept, went to jail and told everybody to go F themselves. Yeah, I'll go to jail. So what? Yeah. Now what? You pulled your card. What are you going to do to me now? That is the ultimate F you to everybody. I mean, that's an Irish move.
Yep.
But his family didn't come to America because they were successful. Nobody comes to America because you were successful, except A1 visa guys.
It's called H1B, Sean, for the last time.
Close enough. HP visa. The HP visa. But so his family were ghetto-ass, poor, white trash Irish like the rest of us, and got over here and got some success. And he's obviously smart.
Yeah.
But what are you leaving, though? Your creation is this chaos of this great experiment, and you're going to be the guy that ripped it all up, or what?
Like there's an old friend of mine, Sean. He's a tattoo artist in Germany and a lifelong anarchist. Like even he was like, dude, what the hell is going on in America? And I was like, you guys have confused an anarchist. How did this happen?
Well, and so from my perspective, I really do. And I've got two choices, and you're pretty aware of that because you've been here. I could just roll with the flow and do real well.
Yeah.
I mean, I can switch. Or I enjoy being the opposition. I enjoy the fight. I enjoy all of that stuff. But once again, I would say, you and I have been covering this for 2 years. I mean, we were the canary in the coal mine. My friends down at the county jail that I did this with, we were the canary in the coal mine. I mean, and now, well, Sean, what can I do now? I mean, I got all these people that haven't been involved. And I go, I don't know what to tell you now. It's moving. We needed to stop the train before it's moving. Have you ever noticed when a train hits a semi-truck, it just runs it over? That's where we are. So, I know. All right, how are we doing on time?
We are good at 20.
All right.
We
Do you want to step this up and do a couple of them a week for a while? I mean, we got a lot going on.
we might want to, because I think it's just getting squashed into 20 minutes right now.
Yeah, and I think you may want to talk to your BBC friends and just go. I mean, is there anything you want to do? You know, because there's. I think everyone's getting overwhelmed with information.
Yep.
I don't think it's necessarily that these guys are so successful, but their chaos game is fucking brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm almost envious. The chaos game is so good.
Think about it, so good that before I used to get, like, say, one news article about something happening in America sent to me, whereas now I don't have time to read everything people have sent me. And I'm like, I don't know what to start with.
But whoever put this 2025 thing together, I mean, I got kudos. I mean, I'm you know me, I'm the first to give you credit, whether I win or not on this deal. But I'm a little concerned in the long term. The school stuff's kind of got me not worried, because it doesn't affect my kids. Yeah. You know, and that sounds shitty, but it's kind of like your Indian friends going, well, you know, if those guys leave, I got a shot. Mm-hmm. You know, which only immigrants and children of immigrants really do understand that. And
I know, you know there might be a few people appalled by that notion, but it really is how it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's tragic, but very honest. There's my bread, brother.
Hell yeah.
Let's give that some thought. I don't think I'm going anywhere till after St. Patrick's Day, but we might want to give a run up and I can't figure out some way, if there's a way to do this live, so we're not delayed.
Do it live on YouTube, because right now we have 36.
Fuck, I don't have any followers there.
I know, that's the only issue. Maybe we can do. Let me look at some options. We'll figure it out.
Give that one some thought, because, man, I'm telling you, that, you know, we either are going to cover it go down or we're going to watch it go down. Yeah. You know, I mean, either way, you and I are kind of in the middle. I mean, we are so weirdly in the middle. It's bothersome.
I know, it annoys me. Like, I'm like, why am I talking about this right now? Can I not just stay in my little bubble?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you know, then from my end, you know, I'm old enough where I go, oh, I don't really need to worry about business. But, you know, fuck yeah, I still do. If all these people go all the way to the right, because that's where the money's going to be. Yeah. You know, it is. That's where the money's going to be. You know, what do you do at that point? You know, most of those folks don't eat here. I don't know why. Evidently, there's a rumor I don't like what they do. And so, you know, and they... Given the opportunity, they would like to economically punish people.
Your political stance is getting in the way of customers being seated. You're a dick.
It's well, I mean, we're lucky. This is usually a slow time of year, so we're really not losing anything. And it gives the total right wingers the opportunity to yell and, you know, act like their guy is better and all that bullshit. I literally just dropped my phone in some flour. This is, I wish I could take a photo of it. It's so crazy funny.
I'm leaving all of this in for the sole reason that you are a fucking mess in that kitchen.
I know. Well, my yeast is ready, so I got to make the bread, whether I'm talking to you or not. But so it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. All right, I got to go clean this phone, my friends. I'll see you. All right.